Hey, what's up, street photographers? This is Eric Kim from the Eric Kim Street Photography blog. It's day two of Paris, and I just want to give you guys a quick update. So after last night, stayed up till probably like 3:30 or 4 in the morning, editing some of my images. Also doing what I'm doing right now, which is kind of giving you guys a recap. And right now, what time is it? It's 2:30. So it's late, but I'm still feeling pretty limber. So today I was able to really get my first full day of shooting street photography with Leica M9. Um, this pretty old thing with a 35 millimeter Summilux 1.4, and yeah, it was just a really truly romantic experience. Like, first of all, to have a Leica, I mean, it's a fantastic camera, and also the streets of Paris are just very inspirational. The thing I just really love most about Paris is that the fact that you can really walk everywhere, and you know, street photography is all about being in the streets, walking around, taking photos. Los Angeles can get pretty difficult because everyone always driving cars, and that's one thing I really like about Paris compared to a lot of the other United States cities. But not just Paris. When I was in Korea, shooting street photography was awesome because a lot of people in the subway, a lot of people on the streets. I know a lot of other places people are from. It could be the same. New York City is really good for street photography. But yeah, I was able to shoot on the streets. I actually made it up with my host Damien's girlfriend, um, and she was really like a wonderful host. She kind of showed me around the streets of Paris, took me into this really awesome parks, and it looked like there was actually a lot of local Parisians there rather than just a bunch of tourists. Oh yeah, her name is Maria, by the way. Really lovely, and she also takes great photographs as well. But took some great photographs there. A lot of children playing in the park. Supposedly, I heard in Paris, taking photos of children is not considered really that weird. It's more of a compliment taking photos of them. Whereas I know in the States, it could be really like, whoa, you're taking a photo of my kid. That's like pedophilia. Like, stay away from my kids. And I heard, and supposedly the UK is supposed to be even worse. Like, there's actually kind of like they're a lot more strict when you're taking photos of children. I don't think it's necessarily illegal, but you can really get in trouble if you're not careful. Yeah, so took a bunch of photos of kids. Using the Leica M9 was really great because, um, if you just kind of look at it, I mean, everyone I show this to who don't know what it is, they think it's just like old cheap camera, and I think that's kind of a good thing because people look at it, they're just like, oh, this guy's just kind of like a tourist. Look at this guy with this old looking camera that sounds like a film camera, and when you point this in someone's face, they don't really react. They're just kind of like, oh, whatever, it's just an Asian dude. So I was able to get a lot of good photographs, and there's actually this really cool feature called the snap shot feature, I think. It's kind of like, imagine it's a let me describe it to you. So it's actually a setting where you could select whatever shutter speed you want. So I usually keep it at around 3/50th of a second, and you could just choose whatever aperture you want. I usually keep it around f8, f11, or f16 just for a nice depth of field, to be nice and deep so everything's in focus. And this mode is kind of like an auto mode, which depending on your shutter speed and your aperture, it'll actually choose the ISO for you, which is like awesome because in street photography, I think the two most important things is just make sure your shutter speed is fast enough, and secondly that you have enough depth of field. So around 3/50th of a second slash f11s, f8, f16. You don't even have to focus. You just if you're at a certain distance, I mean most of your shots are going to be in focus and not blurry. So it makes life grand. It's just so easy, and there's some critics about using that mode. Is like, oh yeah, you should always use manual mode, and I know how to use manual mode. I have a film rangefinder, an old Context 3.8, but shooting with that makes it really awesome because you know I think that street photography is not so much about the technical aspects behind it. When I did my workshop with David Gibson, who's one of the in public street photographers, really famous, really talented, very passionate. He himself admitted that I'm not a very technical street photographer. I just kind of go out, I look for interesting compositions, I try to make good photos, and I think that really speaks a lot because sometimes people can be so worried about the technical aspects than actually going out and taking photos. And even when I'm shooting with my um, other cameras, I just usually toss into P mode or um, any one of them automatic modes, and just kind of take the photos. But anyways, spent an entire day shooting with the M9. Unfortunately, one of the things that I noticed that was a little bad about the M9 is that the battery didn't last so long. Perhaps it's because I kept the LCD auto display for 2 seconds, so I think that might have drained the battery pretty quickly. So like I shot from like the morning until around like 5 p.m. and I was out of juice, so I was able to shoot with my Ricoh GR3, which is also a really awesome camera. Takes really good photos. Um, One thing I've been noticing about the Leica M9 is that, um, you know, I mean, first of all, it doesn't like you can't just give anybody a Leica M9 and it's like, okay, you're gonna suddenly take far better photos, and it doesn't really give you better photos in the sense that it is a camera. It does it takes photos, but it's really about kind of the experience of shooting with a Leica. It's when you're looking through the viewfinder, it's really big and bright, and I mean, one of the things that's unique about a rangefinder is that when you look through um, the viewfinder here, typically with the SLR, you look through the lens and you see what your lens is looking through. But rather with the Leica M9, you're looking through and just seeing everything. And it's funny, you even look through the viewfinder and you can actually see part of the lens, which is kind of cool. But the advantage of this is that you have a far better perception of everything. Like you could kind of see things from the left and things on the right, and there's kind of like some grid lines which show you about what your framing is going to look like. So it gives you a far better general sense of the surroundings, and also it's really big and bright, so it makes taking photos really easy. And the fact that everything's just so like it's like a true camera. Like you could manually focus it. You could choose your shutter speed and aperture. And even though I'm using snap functions, it makes it really easy and quick to just change all the settings, and you don't have to worry about like stupid menus and just digging through all that crap to take photos. And it's really quiet when I'm taking photos in the subway. People don't even hear me taking photos, and it just feels really nice to take photos of with it. And of course, not everyone's able to afford it, but at the same time, like this package I have right now, the M9, it's around $7,000, and the 35 millimeter 1.4 Summilux, the new one, is around $5,000. So it's definitely not cheap for a camera. I mean, I think everyone could agree with that. But then again, it's what's really important to you. I mean, my passion is street photography. Um, I love photography. I love travel. Those are two things that I don't really feel like I'm really wasting money, because it's really an investment. I mean, like lenses, if anything, they go up in value. Like they're mostly sold out everywhere you go, and $12,000 is a ton of money. But then, I know a guy at my workplace who bought like a new Ford Mustang, and he spent like $30,000 on it. And I'm like, didn't you already have a car? He had like a Volkswagen GTI, and he just bought another one. He's like, oh, but this one's so much faster and whatnot. It kind of made me think, it's kind of a good analogy that, you know, why buy a Civic or why buy a Mustang when you could buy a Civic? They both drive, they get you to the same location, but it's kind of like how you drive, and driving in a Mustang is far more enjoyable than driving in a Civic. And same thing with the M9. I feel like I could really take great photos with any camera I use. But something about the M9, the simplicity and just the classic feel of it just really helps me take better, helps me have an easier experience, which helps it there to be less barriers to actually taking the images. Yeah, so I mean, like $30,000 on a car. I mean, why not just buy like a used $12,000 car? And I mean, that's the same price as that. So I mean, you could save yourself. You could buy a used instead of buying a $30,000 car. You could buy a Leica M9 with a really nice lens and spend another $12,000 on a used car, and you'll still save $7,000 or $6,000 from buying a $30,000 car. So yeah, it's all about what's important to you. And also, sorry, this is getting really long. It's like already 9 minutes. If you're still watching, I congratulate you. But I met this guy, Yanidel. If you guys ever Google Paris street photography, I believe it's number one. Or you just check him out. Just Google Yanidel. You should be able to find his work. Another really talented street photographer who uses Leica M9 for street photography. Um, his I mean, first of all, when I met this guy's like really tall. Like this guy's like 6'4". He's just I give him a call. I'm like, hey, when are we gonna meet up? And he's like, oh yeah, let's meet up soon. And he was just I was like, how am I gonna know it's you? He said, I'm just gonna be the really, really tall guy. I'm like, okay. And I meet up with him and Damien and my host Damien and Yanidel. We all met up and we started taking photos, and it was really cool. A very passionate guy, great street photographer. Um, you know, it was interesting that actually with his Leica, he has the gray one, and he just really helped mask up all the logos and the lettering. So I guess he's actually doing a world trip around the world, um, so to prevent him from his Leica from getting stolen, I suppose, and be more discreet. But yeah, we went out to the streets. Um, the areas we checked out, nearby Moulin Rouge, we went to, near Belleville where Damien lives. Um, um, some other places. I don't know, I can't really remember, but I took some really good photos. I'm actually Lightroom's open right now, and I'm processing them right now. Hopefully, I'll show you some good photos. I think I actually took a lot of good photos, and yeah, I was surprised. Um, one more day until the Leica convention. It's gonna be on Tuesday at like 4:30. Really nervous, but really excited to meet the people there. And just thinking about my travels is that it's really not about the photos you take, but the people you meet. Damien's been like a truly wonderful host. Just to have him, like, knowing him and the hospitality he's been showing me has been truly wonderful. I mean, Maria, his girlfriend, she's from Spain, and she really showed me around the city and kind of, you know, really did take on, like, not only being my guide, but she also cooked for me. She really made me feel like family. It was wonderful. Um, Yanidel's always been a huge work of his street photography. Finally met him in person. It's like, wow, the internet is helping me really meet everyone. And also his girlfriend came along as well. So yeah, I'll just keep you guys posted. Sorry if this is really long, 12 minutes long. I mean, you guys you guys are truly awesome. Um, got any questions for me? Places I should check out? Leave them in the comments below. Oh man, it's getting like it's already like 2:47. Getting a little tired. All right, so hopefully I can get this photo processed and stay tuned.